What's going on, guys? Eric740T with Eric's RC channel. I am going to be doing a build of the Hobby King S550. In previous videos, a lot of my subscribers had requested that I actually show the full build. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show it, mistakes, whatever and all. This first part's just the frame. That's all I'm going to be building for this video. And the build's going to be separated into multiple parts. But anyways, I'm going to build the S550, and let's go ahead and open the box and get everything out. Carbon fiber, that's light. So I may be talking, maybe not, throughout the video. Velcro strap. And the main board with a PCB built in, so you can solder your connection straight onto it, which is nice. Okay, let's get this box out of here. Alright, so we got some basic instructions. Okay. Pretty basic. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the bottom plate, this will be front, back, top plate, front, back. Wait, yeah, it's got a micro USB hookup. I'll have to figure that out later. So let's put the bottom together. I didn't come prepared for opening packages. No scissors around, they need them. Obviously know where these go. Let's get rid of this. Step 1, it says on the instructions, mount the motors. We're not going to do that. That will be later for us. Step 2, mount these to the frame. Yeah. Mount these to the frame. That's landing gear. Here we go. Here's the little package I'm looking for. It says, wow, that's a lot of screws. Alright. So we got several different types of screws. M3, M2.5, M2.5. Brackets. wanted the full build, so I'm going to show you mistakes and all. Mistakes are bound to happen. It's no big deal when you're building it. Get them worked out. I built the DJI S550 that I built was a really, really good flyer. Ended up having to sell it, but okay. It's nothing really. So which tubes do I use? These. Looks like it. Just move these out of the way. I don't know. Either one, I guess. They're the same length. One has caps on it, one doesn't. Which doesn't really matter, I guess. These might be for the landing gear. We'll go with the open ones. The ones open without the caps for this part. All right. I don't recommend biting open packages because you can. Oh, there were screws in there. Set screws. Just lost them. Found the little tiny set screws. Careful with those when you open that package. Okay. So the screws we're going to be using is the M3 × 4. That's what the instructions say to mount this up onto the quad. Why do I not see an M3 × 4? M2.5, M2.5. 2.5, M3 nut. That's not it. So that's impossible. We have no M3x4. Oh, never mind. That's the set screw. Okay. So we're going M2.5x6. Here we go. We got those. And I do always Loctite all of my screws, so how many do we need? 8 of them. Let's get a few out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little Loctite on my little tool holder here, and I'm going to put every bolt into that. I always like to be Loctited, just in case. Alright, so what size are these things? Alright, so we got the 2mm. I'm just going to magnetize the bit real quick. It's a 2mm for these. Okay, that's good. Put a little Loctite down. And I just dip the end in it. Just a touch. Okay. So it looks like that's going forward. This is the top, that's the bottom. Looks like we're going to go right here and here. So let's go ahead and get them screwed in first, then we'll put the tube in. Loctite never hurt nobody. So this is obviously going to be a long video. And there's going to be multiple long parts because I'm going to show everything. Get these nice and snug. Alright, we got one of them. These are the M2.5x6 that we're using. Right? Yeah. And if you guys are following the build and doing the same thing, go ahead. You can skip around. I would skip around and find parts that you might get stuck on or something. Who knows? These Hobby King kits, you never exactly know what you get. Although it looks pretty good, and the built-in PCB is great for power distribution. You can just solder right onto it. That's really good. Saves a lot of weight and space for not needing a power distribution board or something. I usually have a big magnet tray for my screws, but I don't have it right now. And only use Loctite on metal to metal. If it's into plastic or something, these have little metal nuts built into them, so I'm using the Loctite. But if they have plastic, either use nothing or use like CA glue. At least that's what I do. Usually CA if it's a part I think might come off. I use the ones without the caps for this part. I'm going to use the other ones for the landing gear. Oh no. Oh yeah. Good, I almost thought I messed up. It's got a hole for a good hole for the set screw, so. I thought I had to take those back off to put the set screw in. Where are my set screws? Okay, I see them. And get it as good as you can this way. It's not going to be perfect, but you can get close. If you really want to do it, you can measure it and stuff. And the set screws are not 2mm. Let's see what they are. What are they? Doesn't fit. No. Thought I had everything. The set screws are a 1.5mm. Hex to get them in. I'm not going to use Loctite on this part because I don't think there's any metal thread. Is that getting in there? Yeah, it did. Nice. I'm really glad these holes were here, otherwise I was gonna have to take all this back off to put them in on this rod. So that's good. And these set screws are tiny, guys, so be careful not to lose them. Nope. Nothing there. That would have been a waste. Oops. And one of these toolkits with all different kind of bits is really, really handy. And you can buy individual sizes too that are not removable. I have some of those as well, but I like to use this because I can switch really quick. Alright, let's get the other side done. And it's these two holes here, the ones with the lining where the set screw goes. I'm trying to really line this thing up nice and even. Looks pretty good. I can always move these later, no big deal. You just loosen the set screw and move it. Oh. That'll work. And they give you one extra set screw. I don't know if that's for something else later, but they gave me 5 and you really only need 4 for this part. This one seems a little tougher. Alright, so we got those on there, that's not going anywhere. And these are the plates for let's go ahead and tidy up here. Well, what size screws do we need? .5 we good? 2.5, yeah. So the next part we're going to mount these pieces onto there. And then we'll attach this after, well hopefully if it bends enough, we'll attach it to this. Should have done that first. Can I bend it? Maybe should have done this part first. But either way, we'll work around it. Go ahead and, I'm going to snap them on before I screw them in, so I can make sure I can get it. Alright, so yeah, you can get it before you screw it on. Alright, so where are they going to go exactly though? Instructions. Oh no. I don't know if they want them both up here. Yeah, okay. For the small one, they're both, for the front, which would be this, they're both in front of it. So make sure you got it right front and back. Looking at the top, front, little arrow. Okay, got those snapped in. And this plate is going to go on. Again, this stuff's pretty easily movable, so we can always make adjustments later. I can see these are a little off, but that's fine. Go ahead and get those in. And it's the M2.5s again. Oops. Into it. Okay. Loctite, since there's a metal nut inside of it. I've never actually shown a full-blown everything I do build before. See how it comes out. This is just going to be part one of, I don't know how many parts yet, because I don't know. There we go. So we got all these lined up, just like that. This is the front, and I believe this is for the camera mount or something. And this is my first hexacopter, so when it comes to wiring up the ESCs and getting all that straight, that'll be fun. And again, I always use Loctite on metal to metal. Go ahead and get these nice and tight. Alright. Nice. Alright, now there's a back plate that goes, guessing for the battery. Yeah, it looks like a battery holder, so you can strap it around there. Go ahead and one's going to be on the inside here, the other one's going to be on the back part, so go ahead and do the snap on the inside one, snap on the back. Okay. And again, it's M2.5 by 6. Looks like we're going to be using a lot of these. Magnetize again. Keep losing it. Okay. Almost got you. The reason I got so hung up on using Loctite on everything is because I built I was building 450s, Trex 450s, and with the all metal heads, and I didn't use Loctite one time, and I was flying it, just flying around doing circles, and the whole head just something got loose, and the whole head just blew apart. It took about, I'd say 5 or 6 flights without the Loctite to do it, but it did it. So after that I was like, alright, Loctite on everything. It's not cool to have a fiberglass blade flying at your head. So as you can see, that's how we're doing it right there. Front, back, probably camera, battery mount. Looks good. Need a little more Loctite. Yeah, this video is going to take forever to upload. Alright, we're good on that. We'll worry about straightening these later. Or I could do it now. This one just needs to move forward a little bit. I'll go ahead and do it now. Forgot. It's the 1.5. I need to move this one a little bit that way. Or, no, this, well, this one a little bit that way. I don't know if these dug into the carbon fiber or what. It's moving, it's just slow. There we go. That's just about right on the money. Snug those back down. Again, you could measure it and make sure it's exactly centered, which I might do later, but I had Loctite in my toolbox, and my micrometer it was plastic and cheap, and it got melted by the Loctite. It wasn't much Loctite, just a little bit. Alright, so far we got the bottom half of the frame, the top half will sit here, and we got these carbon fiber rods on, battery mount, camera mount on. Alright, so let's go to the next step, which would be, looks like assembling the landing gear. I'm going to put these screws back in here just to make sure I don't lose them. It's good to have a magnet. My fingers are too fat to grab those things. And I'll put the other set screw in here too, the extra one, just in case I need it later. Alright, so the next part looks like we're going to be using the M3. I'm going to put this over here for now. Alright, landing gear. Nuts. Maybe everything's right here. I don't need to get the other screws. Alright. So I'm going to have to grab an extra tool. I didn't bring anything for the nuts. And these are light. Wow. Extremely. Made nothing. It's like throwing a piece of paper around. Okay. Alright, so this will be the top. Carbon fiber rod will go in. It's actually a fairly snug fit. That's pretty cool. Push it all the way in. And we got the bottom piece, which will be this. instance. Put this hole, it shows on the instruction, put this hole outward, so with this like this, so we'll put the hole outward. That's what it's showing. Okay. Alright, and then other than that, we're just tightening this down. Sounds good. Here's where the other rods will come into play. I wanted to use these for the landing gear because they had the covers on the end. Okay, that's about centered. That works for me. Alright, so I'm going to need some, a little bit of all of this. Dump all the nuts out. We'll just do one of these at a time. So all the things, the screws you need should be included in the same bag that these parts came out of. Alright, so the other one. So here's the ones to tighten it down. I'm just pushing down on the table to make sure it's straight. Alright, so we need the M3x10 for the top piece, which, okay, these are definitely the 2.5x16s, the longest ones. Alright, M2.5x8 be the next ones. These must be the 10s, the ones with the rounded heads. Should be 4. That looks right. And these are the 2.5x8s. We got the different nuts too. The bigger nuts are going to go on the top, it looks like. So we use the bigger nuts for the top with these. Alright, let's go ahead and do this. Need one more tool, something to clamp onto the nut. That's what I got in my little box. An old pair of needle nose, that'll work. Okay. And I'm definitely Loctiting these. They are 2mm. Go ahead and put the... Oh, I don't even need pliers. It's got a hole right there for the nut to go into. That's good. In that case... Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. I had some technical difficulties. The camera had stopped recording, and I had already got this piece of landing gear attached and put together, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and we'll start from there. Alright. And I apologize for that. Lost the video. Okay, so we'll do the other landing gear. You want, on the pictures... You want this hole out and the nuts eye in. It has slots for the nuts, so the bottom here is all the little nuts, and these two on the top are for the big nuts. So I'm going to put one of the big nuts in there, and I'm supposed to use the, alright, for top, we're going to use the M3x10s. So M3x10 for the top, Loctite as usual. Probably don't need it with these, I think these are self-locking, these top ones, the big ones anyway. Trying to get the nut down in there. And the M3x10s have like the more flat head versus the M2.5 by 8. Alright, got the nut in there. Just gonna tighten them down pretty well. Alright. For the next part, I'm just going to push down here and make sure it's totally flat and try to get this as straight as possible. Okay, so these have slots for nuts too, but these are the little tiny nuts. Alright. And I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because it's fairly late. So I apologize, you might have to turn your volume up a little bit. And with these ones, you need to have the small nut and the M2.5 by 8 screw. Smaller nut for all 3 holes. Get it real nice and snug, nice and tight. Not going to over tighten it to strip anything out, but okay. Go ahead and slide our landing gear tube in. Slide that in there. And just one more nut. Try to get it even as possible. One more nut right here. Fits right in there. I'm going to hold that still. And this long one is the M2.5 by 16. Right in the middle there. And that just tighten this up. So this that's a landing gear all done now, right here. Completely done landing gear. And we're going to, well, first you put the foam, little foam dampeners, little landing gear. Alright, and then this will attach, this will bolt on facing outward away from the copter. Make sure you don't put it backwards so it's on the inside by accident and have to do it over again. So I'm just going to get one thread started here, and we're going back to, there's the four holes here, and that's where we're going to mount this. This is for the arms. So these 4 are going to be what we're going to screw in, and it's going to be the what size bolt? M2.5 by 6, so the one with a lot of them. So go ahead and get this ready. Grab it. One of these so I can get it started. Now I've noticed a lot of these threads are not very good. Like they need to redo them. They need to be rethreaded. Most of them are good, but you come across a couple of here that are not good at all. Take quite a bit of force to get the screw down in there. All right. More Loctite since these have metal. You see the 4 holes that I went into. Okay. Oops, messed up, but it's okay. I'm going to loosen these back up. Mistakes do happen. No big deal. So these 2 front ones will stay. See how this side has these? There's 2 red ones that go over here, toward the middle. The ones in the back are the regular 2.5s. So these have to come out. Better I do it now than you guys do it again later. So hopefully these thread in, because there's not much of a way to get them down in there. And that actually worked just fine. If you have to, you can take one of the 2.5 M2.5 by 6s, and you can run them in there, and then you can screw it in like that, because these are threaded on the top. So, and I'm going to go ahead and do that just to make sure these are tight. They did thread all the way in, no problem. So, I'm going to take one of these 2.5 by 6s and tighten these things up. They're all scratched up, these things. So these videos are going to be long, guys, so feel free to skip around, skip through to any parts if it's redundancy like you saw me do. Of course, you're going to see me do one arm on the hexacopter. You probably don't want to watch me just screw in all of them. Things like that. Alright, so this is all set up. We're done with that. Next thing is we're going to be mounting all the arms. Which basically we're going to do the 2 screws on the end here. There's 2 screws right there on the end. Let me actually tighten these up before we do that. Okay. I like to, I'll put one up there like that. It's a little close to the landing gear when you're screwing it in from the bottom. Flip it over so you can see exactly what's going on here. go ahead and leave it flipped. And I am going to do these. These videos are going to be full. They're going to be very long, and they are not going to be edited. I'm not going to edit anything out, any mistakes, because I want you guys, if you're building one of these, to be able to see any possible mistakes you might make that you could avoid just by paying attention. Sometimes I don't go into la la land, and most of the time I do, but and these are all M 2.5 by 6s. Yeah. And it is a 2mm hex driver. And it's just, once again, it's just these last two screws that you put in from the bottom. So, I don't know how many parts of this series, I don't know how many videos and parts this series is going to take to build the quadcopter. This one here is just going to be just this frame, and everything else will be separated. Maybe motors and ESCs, and then of course last is probably the flight controller. And I do already have videos up about programming the NASA MV2 on a quadcopter, but I don't have one on a hexacopter. It's the same thing. It'll be the same thing. Just hexa instead of quad, which you can just set up pretty easily. I go over fail-safe and everything else in that video. Okay. So, got everything put together. Remember, on these two sides, these two red ones have to go in according to the instructions. And you can probably get to this point several different ways. I'm just following the instructions so you could follow along or watch this first, so you don't do anything that I messed up on. Haven't had any problems though. So this way's the front. You see the arrow in the middle. Last thing would be to put the top on, which I'm not going to do that right now. Reason being, I have to be able to solder onto these pads, and that's really nice right there that they got XT60 and a Dean's connector to be able to solder in for power from your battery. That's super nice. Very, very nice. Alright guys, that's about it for this video. If you watched the whole thing, thanks for sticking it out. I wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully you can build one of these quads with me, and it'd be pretty cool. So it'll be a while before I make more videos on this one, and follow it up with different things: motors, ESCs, flight controller, all that good stuff. Prop sizes and everything, and it'll be a good while. Just I don't have the parts right now, so that's kind of how it is. And once again, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys around. Okay, take care.